Hello everyone, back tuning into today's video doing USA forecast for today's video. So once a week on a Wednesday we have a look at the weather for the next 10 to 14 days across the United States, and so that's what we're doing for our video for today. Just say that these are YouTube exclusive, so these are not embedded through to GWV.com. So if you want to know when we are releasing these videos on a Wednesday, you will need to subscribe to GWV's YouTube channel. Make sure you click all notifications and you'll be notified when we are releasing these videos. Thank you so much, everybody, for doing that. Going to be live streaming at 6 o'clock this evening. We're going to have our Wednesday evening live stream. We'll check in and see how we're all doing. And we're going to live stream a 10 to 14 day video update, including all of the regular features. There will be add-ons, though, with this. So yes, there'll be an add-on. We'll be looking at some winter data as well. You see, we normally do it on a Sunday, but there will be winter data included in the live stream tonight. And I'll let you know at the start of the live stream exactly what is going on with the winter data that we're going to be looking at in the live stream this evening. So that's all going to be from 6 o'clock. So check in at 6 o'clock on the channel, and the live stream will be available across GWV's platforms as well, of course. Right, so let's get on with the USA forecast, then. Just to say that if you're enjoying videos on the channel at the moment, please can you give us a like on the videos. Let us know in the comments what you think. Make sure you subscribe to the GWV's YouTube channel as well. Right, so we're beginning in the tropical Atlantic. So here we go. We've got a new disturbance there. We've had a few days of quieter conditions in the tropical Atlantic, but now we have got a new feature just here, this yellow X there. That's disturbance 1, giving a 10% chance of cyclone formation in the next 48 hours, but a 60% chance, quite a high chance, in the next 5 days. They're saying a tropical wave located over the central Caribbean Sea is expected to move westwards to west-northwestwards over the next few days and interact with a frontal system, producing a broad area of low pressure over the western Caribbean Sea by Thursday night or Friday. Environmental conditions are forecast to become conducive for some development thereafter, and a tropical depression could form over the weekend while the system moves slowly west-northwestwards over the northwestern Caribbean Sea. So there we go. It looks like this system is going to go in that sort of direction, I think, and by the weekend may develop into a tropical depression. If it gets into the Gulf of Mexico, of course, who knows what will happen then. But the moment is just an area of precipitation, an area of thunderstorms and that kind of thing. And so nothing to be overly alarmed about at this stage, but we'll need to keep an eye on it and see how things develop in the coming days. This is the latest wind flow map across the tropical Atlantic from nullschool.net. So I think the reason we've gone through a quieter period, if we so this is showing like the trade winds coming across the tropical Atlantic from the east, of course. That's the you know, that's like the trade winds of the tropical Atlantic blowing from east to west. But we can show you the upper level particulates on this as well. So there we go, and we can see that we have brought out quite a lot of sand, I think, over the past week or so from Africa. So this yellow area just here, that is like dust and sand and stuff that's in the you know, in the top layers of the atmosphere, really, in the troposphere and above it. And so when we bring out all of this dust and sand and rubbish out of the you know, out of sub-Saharan Africa into the atmosphere, it does have a limiting effect on these thunderstorms, and they're the genesis for you know, for tropical storms. However, we can see that behind, so that's obviously this area just here has moved from Africa into the tropical Atlantic. But we can see that behind that, we're beginning to get a clearance here. So nowhere near as much sand and dust being brought out of Africa behind this this area just here. So much clearer here compared to here. And of course, with the trade winds blowing from east to west, we're going to find all of this getting pushed over in that direction eventually probably up to there and dispersing sort of thing. And so next week I wouldn't be at all surprised if we begin to see things livening up again in the tropical Atlantic, because the general setup that has given us such a big season this year for tropical storms and so on, you know, the broad factors that have developed this season into quite a big season so far, certainly for named storms anyway, if not for accumulated cyclone energy, but certainly for named storms, it's been a very big season. And those factors are still there, they're still underlying, and so as soon as we start to dampen down all of this sand and dust that's been brought out of sub-Saharan Africa, I think we will start to see the season ramping up again. So I suspect what we've had over the past week or so, which has been a little bit of a shutdown in these developments, but I suspect that's just a lull, really, and I would be too surprised if things start picking up again next week. This is showing the latest GFS forecast, or the midnight GFS forecast, in terms of mean sea level pressure for the tropical Atlantic. So just so everybody knows what we're looking at here, we've got Africa over here, we've got Eastern America just there. That is going to be, let's get rid of that. So this is going to be Florida just here. This is the Gulf Coast of the United States. That's the Gulf of Mexico. This is sort of the Caribbean down here. So this is the area that you should be keeping an eye on, and we'll run through the next couple of weeks and see what the GFS is forecasted to happen. So the first thing to focus on is that area in the Caribbean Sea that might develop into a tropical storm. So this is taking us up to Friday. And yeah, we have got a development there. Look, we've got a development just here. Area of low pressure is developing in the Caribbean Sea. What does the GFS do with that one? It moves it, actually moves it into the Gulf of Mexico, or just off the, just off the coast of Guatemala and the Yucatan Peninsula and that sort of area. So on that coastal area, but starting to move actually into the Gulf of Mexico itself. Does it ever move into the Gulf of Mexico? It just sort of hovers around South America, so that could be a tropical storm that's hovering around that sort of coastal area of South America. That could bring copious amounts of rain. Now, another development, we're up to Tuesday, 6th of October now. Another development area of low pressure is developing just there, again in the Caribbean. So that's another potential tropical storm anyway. And the GFS actually starts to develop that into quite a significant system. This is getting up towards day 10 now. This is the 8th of October. That is definitely a tropical storm that's developing there through the Caribbean. Not much happening in the tropical Atlantic itself, so in this sort of area around Cape Verde Islands, not seeing too much of it. There is an area of low pressure that's just there. Now, as we move up towards day 10, the GFS develops that tropical storm into a hurricane. I think that's moving towards Florida. We're just beyond day 10 now. This is Saturday, the 10th of October, and that definitely looks like a hurricane at 954 millibars, moving northwards from the Caribbean up towards Florida. And look at this, a very significant impact on Florida there by the 11th of October. That is almost certainly a hurricane that we've got hitting Florida on the 11th of October. Again, not much to be seen in the tropical Atlantic itself, some sort of system just there, but otherwise rather quieter for the tropical Atlantic. But of course, all eyes would be on this tropical storm / hurricane moving out of the Caribbean in towards Florida. And then that system moves northwards onto the southeastern coast of states, moving towards the Carolinas there. We're a very long way out now, of course. It's the 12th of October. We're well beyond day 10. Very long way out, but it's moving that hurricane in towards southeastern parts of America around the Carolinas. They're going to try and push it up the eastern seaboard. This is a little bit Sandy-esque. This is a little bit like what we saw with Hurricane Sandy in 2012 in October, moving certainly into the southeastern part of the states, trying to push it up the east coast But there is a ridge to the north of that, so it is having a bit of a fight to get it up the east coast. It just sort of stalls that hurricane actually on the coast of the Carolinas there. But of course, it's a very long way out. It's like 2 weeks away now, so this is a really long way away. So in the unreliable time frame, there's another system that's being forecasted about there, close to Cabo Verde Islands. Another little development just there as well, I think, and this could be some sort of system as well. This could be a tropical storm or something just here. So it does look as though as we go further into October, and go back actually, so I missed this, and go further back, we've got like two potential development areas, one there, one there. That again is for the 14th of October with a hurricane just here, and this could be some sort of tropical or subtropical system just here. So it does look as though as we move into the first half of October, we are going to see things beginning to ramp up again, begin to liven up once again in the tropical Atlantic. So as I say, I think what we're seeing over the past few days is just like a lull to this tropical storm and hurricane season, but I think it's by no means over, and I think we're probably going to see activity picking up again as we go through into next week. And of course, there's still this suggestion of some sort of hurricane possibly impacting the east coast at some point through the first half of October. This is something we discussed in last week's USA forecast, and that's going to be for the first week of October. It looks like they've been pushed back now to the second week of October, but the hints are still there, potentially some sort of impact on the east coast through the first half of October, so it is definitely one to watch. Looking more broadly across the United States, these are the 500 millibar high anomaly flow charts from the Penn State University for the next week to 10 days, with the ECMWF on the left and the GFS over here on the right. So 500 millibars is an area in actually high pressure, low pressure. I've been moved around by a jet stream. Red and orange extrapolates high pressure, blue to low pressure. You can see that with the ECM. First of all, this one just here, we've got an area below average heights off the northwest coast of the states. That's kind of a regular type feature, really. A ridge through the central part of America and another trough of low pressure in the northeast. So the jet stream is going to be doing something a little bit like that. It also could be pulling down some quite cool air actually into northern, northeastern parts of America through the course of next week. Maybe quite cold even with the air coming out of Canada with this trough of low pressure just here. The GFS is very similar, but it's deeper with the trough of low pressure. So it's very similar. It's got a ridge just there. It's got a trough of low pressure just here. The trough in the north and the northeast is deeper though. Jet stream doing something like that. The jet stream is digging further southwards with this. Jet stream digging further southwards, and that's bringing really quite an impressive shot of cold air into northern and northeast parts of America. By the way, that is the tropical storm / hurricane, that blue area just there, but may push northwards into Florida and this southeastern corner of the states around day 10 and beyond it. These are the GFS upper air temperature and precipitation ensembles for the next couple of weeks. We're at Paintsville in Pennsylvania today. So the red line is the 30-year upper air temperature average for Paintsville. We're starting off quite close to average. Temperature actually going to be dropping though as we go through the first week of October, becoming quite cool through the first week of October. And then to the second week of October, this period just here, which is extended range. Big scatter then. So we've got some quite cold ensemble members down here. We've got warmer ensemble members just here as well. So quite a lot of scatter through the second week of October. What we can also see for precipitation is that there is going to be rain coming through. It's not continuously wet, so quite a big precipitation spike today, actually. Then a couple of drier days and some rain, a couple of drier days and some rain, a couple of drier days, perhaps some more rain. This is like the period where we might move that hurricane up the east coast. So this is like from around the 12th to the 16th of October, just here. You see there are some, potentially some massive precipitation spikes. That one is going virtually off the scale. Quite a few big precipitation spikes just here. So this is like related to the potential of moving a tropical storm or hurricane up the eastern seaboard, like as we move up towards the middle part of October. It's very extended range, of course. That's very extended range, and so unreliable. But you notice at that point, the upper air temperatures are lifting up. That would be, of course, because this hurricane, if it becomes a hurricane, as it moves up the east coast, will actually bring a lot of warmth with it out of the tropical Atlantic and the Caribbean. So the temperature will go up, but of course the downside of that is that there will be copious amounts of torrential rain, and the weather could potentially become quite severe on the east coast around the middle part of October. But again, it's a very long way out. It's like 2 weeks away, so it is very much to be determined. Temperature anomalies in the week ahead, taking us from the 30th of September to the 8th of October, showing an east-west split. So from the Midwest eastwards, it's cooler than average, quite significantly so, actually, below average temperatures on that eastern part of America, on the eastern side. In the west, though, much warmer, still remains very, very warm over on the western side of the United States. So that's been something that we've seen for many, many weeks now. And those very hot temperatures continue in the west, but in the east, definite flavour of autumn, and maybe for the northeast, quite wintry actually as we go into next week briefly. And looking very dry across much of the states as well. This is rainfall anomaly from the 30th of September to the 8th of October. Very dry for many of those southern, central and western states. Just in the extreme northeast does it look a little bit more unsettled up here. Slightly above average rainfall in those very, very far northeastern states. But generally it's a dry scene for much of America, but cool in the east or quite cold in the northeast, and a lot warmer out in the west. That's how the GFS is looking for today. So the reason that we have that big precipitation spike for Pennsylvania is that we're bringing in another system from the north that will have some quite heavy outbreaks of rain with it. There's the upper air temperature showing that it is cool for much of the north and the northeast. The heat is like in the south and in the southwest and up the west coast at the moment. Into Thursday and on into Friday, we get rid of that trough of low pressure, that moves away, and then this ridge builds in through the central and east areas. Winds are in from the north, though. Remember, with this, the winds are going to be blowing in that direction. So on the eastern side of the ridge, we'll be bringing down winds from the north. On the western side of the ridge, whoops, let's change the colour. On the western side of the ridge, we draw up the air from the south. And of course, this is the central position of the ridge of high pressure just here. Let's pull this out a little bit actually. So as we move on into the weekend, we're going to have this ridge generally just sitting across many parts of the states. That's the reason it's relatively dry across much of America. So we've got this cool or quite cold ridge sitting here across much of northern, eastern parts of America, bringing a lot of dry weather with it. Again, the heat is on the western side of the ridge through here. That's where the air is still pushing up from the south, from Mexico. There's the upper air temperatures again showing this very nicely. It is cool or even quite cold in the far north and northeast, but up the west coast, yes, up the western side, the heat goes on, especially like Arizona over towards California. Again, still exceptionally hot, extremely hot still through those areas. Now into the early part of next week, this ridge then begins to slip away in towards the Atlantic. That starts to try and pull up some warmer air from the south over on the east side of America. However, we've got another area of low pressure and a cold shot trying to push back down from Canada again through the early part of next week. And so quite a significant area of low pressure develops in the far north of the states from Canada. And that's going to bring some more heavy rain into those northern and northeastern states. Eventually introduce another push of cold winds from the north. At the same time, those hot southerlies continue out in the west. Moving up towards day 10, we do get this shot of really quite cold air from Canada into the far north and northeast of America. So look at this. This is Thursday, the 8th of October, heading up towards day 10. Yes, we've got the -5 ice firm digging in there, the extreme northeast America. That's probably cold enough to bring snow, some snow to the far north and northeast of states. And -10 ice firm is actually there just to the north of the American border, up towards Canada. So a proper shot of winter moving into the extreme north to northeast of the states by the end of next week. At the same time, there's that hurricane, or potentially a hurricane, down there in the Caribbean. As we move up towards day 10, we find that hurricane begins to head towards Florida. So this is how things looking at day 10, which is the 10th of October. Yes, we've got this potential tropical storm or hurricane. I think it's a hurricane at this point. Potential hurricane menacing Florida. Florida being just there, of course. At the same time, we've got this cold ridge sitting across the eastern part of America. Again, that will keep the cold thing going. It turns it mainly dry, but it will be cold under that ridge of high pressure. Now, looking at a direct hit on Florida with this potential hurricane again as we get through to the 11th of October. Looks rather ominous for anybody down in that southeastern corner of the states. And then that potential hurricane begins to move up towards the Carolinas as we get towards the 12th of October. At the same time, the ridge is starting to push out into the Atlantic. And that will, if nothing else, start to bring a warmer to eastern parts of the states, partly because this area of low pressure contains a lot of humid air and warm air from the Caribbean, and partly just due to the fact that the ridge is moving out into the Atlantic and allowing the air to start to pull up from the south across eastern parts of the states. At the same time, going more south out in the northwest, you'll notice begin to go cooler and more south in the northwest of this area of low pressure. That brings a shot of cooler air into northwestern parts of the state, still mainly hot and dry down in the southwest. And that potential hurricane anyway, moves up further up the eastern coast as we go through to the 13th of October. And just kind of stalls there. So that could bring some copious amounts of rain, of course, to like these mid-Atlantic coastal areas as we get through towards the middle of October. That's how we end this GFS run. So by then, we take that system away into the Atlantic. It begins to die a death. With this ridge then sitting through the central states. So that's a warmer ridge there, I think. That's going to be a warmer ridge with quite warm air in the east and to the west of the ridge. So that will be a little bit warmer. Out to the far northwest, it's more unsettled there with this trough of low pressure. Maybe even bring some rains down in towards California. By then. This is how the ECM is looking. So again, at the moment, we're bringing the weather system into the northeast. That's got some heavy outbreaks of rain with it and is lowering the temperature again. Through Friday into the weekend, we get this just general ridge building across much of northern eastern America, so turning dry, but it will be quite cold under that ridge. The heat is over on the western side of the states. The ECM a bit different through the early part of next week, as there is a little trough of low pressure that's developing there, and that could bring some quite heavy rain to the Midwest. The GFS doesn't show that as well. And then we go through into the middle and second half next week. Here's that next shot of colder air from the north, again coming out of Canada into these northeastern states. Again, at the same time, we've got this ridge through these central states, and the heat is going to be over in the west and in the southwest as well. Heading up towards the end of next week, that's how we're looking with the upper air temperatures. So it's same idea really, not quite as cold for Northeast America as the GFS, not being quite as much cold air out of Canada, but it's still pretty chilly in the northeast. So from the Great Lakes so towards the northeast, probably still cold enough for some snowflakes. Out in the west, though, that's where the heat is running up this western side of America, though the west coast itself is just that little bit cooler compared to the GFS. That's how we get towards day 10. So by then, we've got this ridge sitting on the east side of America. That's going to bring a lot of dry weather with it. Could be quite cold under that ridge. Probably more unsettled out to the northwest. No hurricane close to Florida, you'll notice, although there is some sort of area of low pressure down there. But the ECM is not bringing a hurricane to Florida around day 10 as the GFS is doing. So at the moment, that potential for a hurricane for Florida and southeast parts of America, and possibly running up the east coast, is just one to watch. Finally, CFSV2, so these are 500 millibar heights broken down into week periods. The first week period takes from the 30th of September to 6th of October. So the coming week has the ridge out in the west. The trough is in the east and in the northeast. Jet stream digging southeast was that bring a shot of cold air into those eastern and northeastern parts of states. Meanwhile, in the west, it's very warm. That's how it looks as we get to week 2, which is the 7th to the 13th of October. A ridge then through the central and western states. Lower pressure up here, jet streams rising northwards. I think that just generally lifts up the temperature a little bit through the through that second week of October. Week 3 is the 14th to the 20th of October. Ridge then over on the east side of America. Trough appearing in the northwest. Jet stream is going to be doing something a little bit like that. So this brings the coolest and probably most unsettled weather into northwestern parts of the states. East and northeast areas probably turning warmer. And then we go through to week 4, which is the 21st, 27th of October, with just a general ridge then across many parts of America. Jet stream is pushed northwards. That should be relatively dry, I would have thought, through large parts of the states, and probably quite mild as well. Temperature anomalies for week 1, the 30th of September, 6th of October. Very warm or hot in the west and in the northwest. Very cool or cold in the east and in the northeast. All changed in week 2. This is the 7th to the 13th of October. Most parts of the states go warmer than average, substantially so. It is cooler down here in the far south around the Gulf Coast, but many other parts of America are becoming significantly warmer than average in week 2. Week 3, which is the 14th to the 20th of October, also looking substantially warmer than average from the west coast to the east coast. And then week 4, which is the 21st, 27th of October, that one also looking substantially warmer than average in many parts of the states. I think that's going over the top with the warmth, I have to say. I think that's going over the top of it, but we shall see. Week 1 rainfall anomaly from the 30th of September, 6th of October looks wet in the far east and southeast. Otherwise, most other parts of America, under that cold ridge, of course, mainly dry. Week 2, which is the 7th to the 13th of October, generally dry through much of the Midwest and into the east, out to the far west and northwest. Looks a little bit wet, especially up here towards the Pacific coast, Pacific northwest coast, I should say. Week 3 is the 14th, 20th of October. So by then, it's a little bit wet, averaging in the far north. Many central states, towards the east, a bit on the drier side. Lots wet down here towards Florida and down towards the Caribbean. So again, that might be picking up on some sort of tropical development menacing Florida. And then we go through to week 4, which is the 21st, 27th of October. Dry through those central states, a little bit wetter over towards the east and also in the northwest. So at the moment, the main issue is going to be the cool temperatures across many northern and eastern parts of America in the coming days. So that's the first thing to focus on. And then probably followed by a little bit of a warm-up as we go later on into next week. Although for the far northeast, we might pull down quite a cold shot from Canada to the far north and northeast. But it looks like many central parts of America are getting a little bit warmer through the second half of next week. Then we're focusing on the potential, anyway, for a hurricane or tropical storm, but probably a hurricane to get towards Florida sometime through the second week of October and maybe push up the east coast. It's a very long way out, and it's just one to watch. But of course, if it does come off, it could be really, really impactful. Right, that's your USA forecast for this week. Been a very extended one, so I hope you found it interesting and informative. That's your USA forecast for this week. Do it over again next Wednesday. Give us a like on video if you enjoyed it. Let us know in the comments what you think. Make sure you subscribe to Gaz Webber's YouTube channel, and the next USA forecast will be released on Wednesday. Next week. We're going to be live streaming from 6 o'clock, so we'll check in, see how we're all doing. You're going to live stream a 10 to 14 day update. There will be winter data included in the live stream, and that's going to be from 6 o'clock tonight. So I shall see you all then, hopefully. That's all for now, though, and thanks for watching.